Hey, welcome everybody to the Wellness Wednesday with FunSaver Network. We do this every other Wednesday. We have another wellness company, so now we have another one on board. We're excited about both of these companies, and the reason we're excited because I've told everybody from the beginning that FunSaver Network is different. We're different than any other company out there. We don't just have people making products and slapping a label on it and saying it's yours. There's your health and wellness product. No, 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 no. We literally want to work that really sees value in working with FunSaver Network because we are not just your everyday network marketing company. We do things totally different. And you're going to see what I mean this evening on this call. We have a fantastic person on this call that I got to meet and really ask some questions today. And I am looking so forward to doing this again because now I have just a couple of extra questions that I think are highly important. But let me stop fumbling around and let me introduce to who we have on this call. This is Dr. Dwight Lundell. Dr. Dwight Lundell is a graduate from the University of Arizona. He has his MD degree, general surgery, cardiovascular, and thoracic surgery. Completed at Yale University. So he's got over 25 years experience in this cardiovascular and thoracic surgery. 25 years. American Board of Surgery certification, American Board of Thoracic Surgery certification, membership in the Society of Thoracic Surgeons. I'm telling you, we're just different. Dr. Lundell, he's a pioneer. He's an absolute pioneer in the off-pump heart surgery, reducing surgical complications and recovery times for people that go through a heart surgery. He's a pioneer of making that happen. Okay, he's performed over 5,000 coronary bypass operations. And all of us, once again, get to share our time with Dr. Lundell tonight, and I am super excited about doing it. So Dr. Lundell, please unmute and let me know you can hear me, sir.
I can, yes.
Fantastic, fantastic. I can't say enough to you, Dr. Lundell, once again, exactly how appreciative I am and FunSaver Network and all of our members that are here this evening, and even the people that's watching this for the first time. We thank you so much for taking a great part of your Wednesday and being on here this evening to let us know who you are, how special your product is, and why I'm so happy at FunSaver Network to have it. So if you would, sir, say a couple of words, whatever you want to say, fix yourself more than I have. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Well, it's great to be here. We had a nice webinar earlier, and we hope this one will be just as good and just as informative and just as motivating.
I am sure we've got that covered. So again, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I'm really excited to bring your story and most of all, the formulation that you have made way back in the mid, I'm going to say it was out in the 2000s, but we get to bring that back to light. And I'm super excited about that. But just so everyone knows who you are and what makes you different, I want to kind of go over a little bit about your medical and your professional background, if I could. Now, I've told everybody, and we know you're a heart surgeon, or was. You don't practice anymore. But again, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked today because I think it's important. As being a heart surgeon and cardiovascular, how did that path of 25 years of doing that, over 5,000 cardiovascular, 5,000 different surgeries you're doing, how did that path lead you to the product that you put together? How did that happen?
Well, it's quite a journey, actually. Professionally, I was always trying to make my profession better. We're trying to do heart surgery better with lower complications and lower death rates, trying to do all of our things better. And then as time went on, I saw that my patients would come back 5 or 10 years later and need another operation. And I noticed in my patients and in the medical literature that more than half of them had normal cholesterol. And that's the only thing all the cardiologists would talk about is elevated cholesterol and putting people on statin medications to lower their cholesterol. But it didn't seem to make any difference in whether they needed heart surgery or not. And, as time went on and I saw this happening, I said, we're not doing something quite right. Yes, we're very effective at treating this disease at its end stage, but somehow we have to start treating this disease in its early stages and prevent or modify the course of the disease. So I began to delve into what really was happening in the artery, what really caused the plaque to build up, what was going on metabolically inside the blood vessel. And I began to try to move the needle to go back further upstream to treat this disease. And I discovered that mostly it was nutrition. In that, arteriosclerosis is not caused by cholesterol. Absolutely not. It's one of the biggest frauds in medicine, in the history of medicine, and the money wasted on it is astronomical. What really causes arteriosclerosis is inflammation of the blood vessel. Now, inflammation follows injury. You don't have inflammation without an injury somewhere. So what was injuring the inside of this blood vessel to cause this plaque to start to build up? Now, cigarette smoking, lots of other toxic chemicals in the air, chronic infection somewhere else in the body can all lead to an inflammatory state that might begin to cause a problem in our blood vessels. But the biggest reason for plaque buildup and the biggest thing that injures the 60,000 miles of blood vessels we have in our body is elevated blood sugar. That's the key. Blood sugar is the key.
You said something today. I'm sorry. You said something today because you're talking about blood sugar. When I first met you on a Zoom, you had mentioned to me immediately. You said, "Ron, cholesterol is not the cause of strokes or heart attacks. That's not what does it." You told me it is sugar. It is sugar in your system. And you made it quite clear to me that day that it's not my fault. You told me it wasn't my fault that the elevator is in my system. Can you kind of go through that? Why you say it's not our fault? And about the PET scan, the thing you said about the PET scan today just blew me away.
Well, it's sugar is an addiction. And that is pretty darn clear if you watch behavior of people, but even more specifically and more scientifically, if one does a PET scan of the brain, the positive electron scan, the same areas in the brain light up with cocaine as do with sugar. Lab animals sometimes will prefer sugar to cocaine. And so we know from that, it leads us to believe it's an addiction. And if you go on the Yale food addiction scale, it meets all the criteria. Glucose is absolutely, positively addictive. And big food loves it that way. Cigarette makers loved it that way. Cigarette makers now own big food. And I don't know if anybody remembers Lay's potato chips. And their little advertisement was, "I bet you can't eat just one." They knew they were going to win that bet. They had done the research. They had the people in. They added just the right amount of sugar, just the right amount of salt, and a little bit of fat in there to make what they call the bliss point or the point. And so they are working very, very hard, spending millions and millions of dollars on research to get you and I addicted to their products, which contain sugar.
That's amazing. And I know a lot of people that weren't here today that just heard that, like, oh my God, because I am telling you, I used to be that person that loved sugar, loved it. And the thing about it, I know for a fact with me, when I would have my little sugar binge, and I was hungry all the time, and and I wanted more sugar and more sugar. So I believe you 100% when you talk about it being an addiction. What I didn't know that it's hard for me to fathom that the same receptors that light up in a PET scan for cocaine lights up in a PET scan for the overindulgence of sugar. Now, you said today a person that has 100 deciliters in your blood of sugar, how many, was it 1 teaspoon of sugar in your blood?
Yeah, that's the calculation. We have about 5 liters of blood circulating around at any time. And if our blood sugar is below 100, where it should be, that means we have 1 teaspoon of sugar circulating our blood at any point in time, assuming we have a normal blood sugar. Mm-hmm. So a teaspoon of sugar. And if we have a bottle of Coke, that's 9 teaspoons. We tend to overwhelm our ability to control the sugar in our blood. Now, the body likes to control everything in a relatively narrow range. Just hold your breath for a few minutes and see how powerful the urge is to get oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide. Pretty powerful. You can't do it for very long. And the body is trying to control things in a narrow range. And so if you dump 9 teaspoons in, you now have 10 teaspoons circulating. The pancreas secretes insulin like crazy to try to drive it into the cells. And if we have diabetes or insulin resistance, it can't put it in the cells. So we have high blood sugars for longer and longer. Mm-hmm. The sugar's got to be either converted to glycogen or short-term storage system, or converted to fat. And so fat doesn't lead to fat. Sugar leads to fat. If we have more than we can handle, and most of us do.
Understood. So through your processes of being a surgeon for 25 years and seeing this epiphany that you had in your head, and you started putting this valuable thing together. My question is to you: did you test it? Did you test it on people and do blood tests, and did you do those kind of studies that was putting this formula together?
Well, in researching the formula, I knew that each individual ingredient was natural, not harmful, not toxic, and would be well tolerated. And we did not have the millions of dollars to do a big clinical study, which is very expensive. But what we did is made the formula and sent it out to about 15 or 20 people, as I recall, and unlabeled. They just knew it was going to be a weight loss product. So they took us thing for a month, and then we analyzed what happened to them. And it was pretty dramatic and pretty exciting, and let us know that we had proof of concept, that we had made a formula that was actually going to work and help people overcome their sugar addiction.
Wow. So you put this together and you did your own testing that you just mentioned. When was that? What year was that? Do you remember?
That had to be
2011.
2010, maybe. Mm-hmm. Claudia, do you remember?
2011.
2011.
11, yeah.
Okay. So in the mid 2000s, I'm going to say 2011 because you're being specific. You put this product out, and it came out to the 20 or 30 people that you tested with. And when you did that, and you said they took it for 30 days, do you feel, well, 2 questions. What do you feel made it such a hit? Second, I don't think I know the answer to that. Second of all, what kind of results were you seeing in testing the product?
Well, two words about why the product was good. It works.
Okay, that makes sense.
Nothing could be more powerful than that. It works. And it did. And so this group then became very enthusiastic supporters. Mm-hmm. And We labeled it and advertised it and marketed it through the network marketing company. And it really exploded. We had people all over the country. The Hawaiian Islands was particularly a big area where people were losing weight and getting better.
Okay, so that's going to just catapult us into the next question. So you have a product, you put it together, you've tested it on some individuals, you came back in 2 words, it works. You figured that out very quickly. Then you went and looked for a place to go market it and get it out to the world or to the United States. And I'm thinking you did that because through all your experience as being a heart surgeon, you truly had this incumbent feeling inside that you wanted to help people. And it sounds to me like through this MLM company, and we don't mind saying the name was Asante, but it's not the Asante that you see today. There is an Asante out there, but it's not the same company. The company called Asante back in 2011 is no longer around. So, Doc, I'm going to ask the obvious question that most people are thinking. If it was that great, which it is, I am sure it is, and you had a company that was putting it out to the public, why did it disappear? What happened?
Well, if you have a great wagon and no horses to pull it, or horses that can't pull it very well, it fails. And we just had the wrong kind of, we had the right business model, I think, but we had the wrong kind of people to really push it forward and sustain it. I mean, we had a huge burst in growth, and then we had some people stolen away and distributors taken away, and so and we didn't have the ability in the business sense to recover from those kind of things. So it hung around for quite a while, but slowly we couldn't sustain the business anymore.
Yeah, so it's because the partnership issue that you had with them didn't work out like you thought it.
Yes, I mean, I thought I found people that were skilled in running a company and making it successful, and turns out we didn't.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's even more clear now. That's absolutely 100% more clear, because I understand your background is a heart and cardiovascular surgeon, thoracic surgeon, and you went to school for a long time to learn how to do that and be a professional at your field, and you were depending on some other entity to take your product that actually worked and did what it's supposed to do and go get it out to all of the people to help them, and that didn't in your favor. I get it. I understand. It's just a business thing. It's just business. Okay. So that okay, next question. So how do you feel about Fund Saver Network at this point?
Well, we're very hopeful. I've looked at your model, I've looked at your people, and talked with some people who are in your network, and I'm very, very encouraged that this one is going to take off and go to the moon.
And we are encouraged just as you are, and we appreciate you taking the time to look at us and choose us to get this product back out to the public again. So let's move into the product itself, if you don't mind. What's in this formula that you've put together that's totally different from every other weight loss product out there that claims it does amazing things? What about this formula that makes that different?
Well, our goal, as we talked about, if I'm a cocaine addict and I don't longer get a buzz from cocaine, I'm not going to risk my freedom and my life to take it if I'm not getting the benefit or the buzz from my addiction. And so my mindset was, if I can stop the blood sugar from going immediately to the brain and in high levels, then people then can modify their behavior without compulsions. So what we did, this product is designed, I've called it DAMS. It changes the way we digest, absorb, and metabolize sugar. And it does all that, starting with starting right in the mouth. It slows down the breakdown of the two sugars into their single molecules of glucose and fructose. Sucrose is, two sugars. It's got to be broken down into each individual component to be absorbed. Then we slow the breakdown, we slow the absorption, and then we slow the metabolism of sugar once you it gets inside of the bloodstream.
Okay, so what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding, and you're talking to a person, myself, that in 2014 I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and I was put on metformin 500 milligrams, EX or whatever they call it. And for many, many years, I took metformin and kept taking metformin, and it helped, I guess. But the most thing that I found out that helped me tremendously was just changing my diet and exercising and things of that nature. So, but here's what I'm hearing, what you're saying. Sugar is addictive. Sugar is what breaks down and starts inflammation and breaking down the body, which causes massive problems, including a heart attack, including stroke. But when it comes to the sugar, what I'm hearing you say is your product, your formulation could literally help with the disbursement of sugar by slowing it down and getting it into your bloodstream and regulating it the way it is. If that's what I'm hearing, am I also hearing that this is advantageous for type 2 diabetics?
Well, absolutely. Once again, by eliminating or diminishing the reward from taking the drug, the sugar, then we can change people's behavior, and we can overcome the powerful sources marshaled against us by big food and big medicine. Big medicine doesn't care what you eat. They want to give you a pill to overcome what overeating caused. So that was our idea, was to change the metabolism. And you know, type 2, your pancreas still makes insulin, but you become insulin resistant. So instead of the sugar going into your cells, it just circulates around, and your blood sugar can be. That's the other interesting thing. Most things are controlled in a very narrow range. If your blood sugar gets too low, say below 50, you're going to faint and pass out. But it can go to 500 without very many symptoms. So people don't know how high their blood sugar is because there's no symptom that goes with it. And once again, you see people walking out of the convenience market with a 32-ounce big gulp, and you know, that is a huge burden of sugar on our system. And it once again causes injury to the blood vessels, causes you to be hypertensive, causes arteriosclerosis, causes obesity, causes strokes. You know, the typical type 1 diabetic, what do they die of? Or what happens to them? We cut off their legs, they go blind, they have kidney failure, and then they die of a heart attack. So that's all. I mean, that ought to be so obvious that every man on the street should understand it, that high blood sugar is the problem, because that's the natural course of a type 1 diabetic who can't control their sugars in a very narrow range.
So and that's why they spend their whole life with insulin, I assume.
Yep. You're in good company with pre-diabetes. There's 98 million people with pre-diabetes. So I think,
did you say 98?
I think as a marketer, you should like that number.
Okay, hold on. I got another question now. There's 98 million people that you're aware of that's diagnosed with pre-diabetes as of today, correct?
Correct.
Okay, how many people, and maybe you know, maybe you don't, how many people have been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes?
38 million.
That's about 1/3 of the USA.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very happy as a marketer. Absolutely, 100%. 100% very happy as a marketer. I got to ask you a question though. Is it safe for all ages and body types?
Yes, it is. We, except for young children, we don't think we should have anybody under 8 because, there's some caffeine and some other vitamins in there. And so just be careful with children. I wouldn't give it to anybody under 8.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And then I want to ask you about results, kind of. And I know we can't say we're curing anything. I get it, but I want to ask you about results that you've seen. So, on an average, when you were doing the test model and then you had an MLM company selling the product for you, on an average, how quickly were, this might be a hard question, but how quickly were people noticing some sort of changes?
They were noticing it very quickly. Within a week, suddenly their compulsion to reach for another piece of bread or another candy or another cookie, they noticed that urge diminished within a week.
So it breaks the urge of wanting to eat more sugar, is what you're saying.
Correct. That's the idea.
Okay. Okay. So was it weight loss or other benefits like energy, appetite, mood, metabolism? I guess it's all of those. Yeah.
Well, the easy one to talk about, of course, is weight loss. And, we all like to shed a pound or two and look a little better. But the real benefit is our metabolic health.
Right.
You're not going to get a heart attack. You're not going to get high blood pressure. You're not going to have kidney failure. Not going to have to amputate your leg because your blood vessels are plugged up. So the real idea is health, but weight loss is a big motivator to get healthy and a motivator to do things.
Mm. Can it also help with neuropathy?
Oh, yes. It's interesting how quickly people suddenly said my legs are not numb anymore.
Wow.
Once again, that's sugar's effect on the nerve and the little capillaries that feed the nerve.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I believe. So here's the $1,000,000 question, Doc. $1,000,000 question. Why now? So why is now the right time to bring this thing back?
Well, we're sicker, we're fatter than ever. I've been praying and waiting for the opportunity to bring real weight back, but it's needed now more than ever. I mean, you got a third of the population already with blood sugars out of control, and we have to do something. I mean, finally, some government bodies are beginning to get on the same idea of we have to do something. We're sick. The nation's sick. We spend 2/3 of the dollars in the world on drugs for ourselves, and it's not working.
Mm, mm. Well, I want to add something, if you'll allow me. I had the privilege of talking with you a few times, one on Zoom, a couple of times on the phone, now 2 Zooms. Here's something that I learned about very quickly. You're not your average doctor. You're not your average heart surgeon. And I say that with all due respect. And I say that for a reason, because most of the doctors I have ever been around or went to see or whatever, it's all about medicine to mask what's going on and maybe surgery to fix. No, not many doctors that I've ever talked to or had a chance to sit down with ever talk like what you're saying. You're kind of going against the grain of your profession. And I don't know how that fares for you, but I know you're not practicing anymore. But you seem to be that guy that used your knowledge that you gained, not through classes, but through actual surgery and seeing what it was doing to make something that could help that situation. And during that process, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you probably pissed a lot of people off doing that. Yes or no?
Yes. Heart surgery for a hospital is very, very lucrative.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can't imagine how much money I made for them over the 5,000 coronary bypasses and all the other heart surgeries we did. But Yeah, they didn't like it when I started making noise, because I had decided, ultimately I was chief of staff at the second largest heart hospital in the country, and I
Mhm.
went to them and I said, let's do some programs, let's do some prevention, let's get some community outreach, let's do something different than we're doing. Well, that went over like a lead balloon. And so I decided, if they weren't going to change, I had to do something different. So I retired from surgery, opened a clinic, started treating people with some nutritional products, not real weight yet, but some nutritional products to help them lower their inflammation and lower their blood sugars. And I proved the concept. We could do it. We'd had people come off their metformin, come off their insulin, come off their high blood pressure medicines. So really, I proved the concept that was all about our nutrition and health practices, and not about taking another pill.
That's amazing. So, and I know we've got some highly intelligent people here at Fun Saver Network, and I know a lot of them are going to do their research on you. I'm going to go ahead and take care of this right now because they're going to find the same thing everybody's finding. And this is a tough question for me to ask, but I know that you've dealt with this before. The revocation of your license as a surgeon. Can you address that? I think we just did, to be honest with you. You kind of pushed against the grain and you kind of made hospital people pissed off at you. So, but can you kind of address it? What happened in that situation?
Sure. After our success in the clinic, then said, we need to get this to a broader audience, and so that's when we formed our company to promote the nutritional products. I wrote a book called The Cure for Heart Disease. We were on the internet all over. I was on Fox News a couple of times. Rush Limbaugh, God rest his soul, read an article I wrote on his program. So we were making a lot of noise, and just like in the last few years, when people made noise about COVID, they got smashed. And so the hospital decided to shut me up. They decided to influence the medical board and send a few cases over they thought were not treated properly. And so it was a kangaroo court, as usual. And so my license was revoked. So I wasn't using it, so it really wasn't a big loss. But it's an embarrassment, to be honest with you. After 25 years of an unblemished career, now I have this blemish. And it's because I spoke out, it's because I wouldn't shut up. So is it a blemish or is it a badge of honor? I don't know.
I'm going to say the latter. I mean, it comes down to one thing: you wasn't being a good servant like they wanted you to do. That's all.
No.
So I have. So we hear this in this industry of MLM all the time. And I am proud and honored to say that you have chosen Fun Saver Network to bring this product back to the market. Do you plan on changing the formula, or is it going to be the original formula?
It's the original formula. We've done that experiment and it failed.
Mhm.
At one point in time, I added 2 other ingredients, and the effectiveness, in spite of the fact that they're good ingredients, the effectiveness of real weight went down quite a bit. So, lesson learned, we're back to the original, the one that worked the best.
I am so happy that you've already went down that road and we're not going back. I am so happy for that. And if you would, before we move to this, one of your test subjects, because we're going to bring one of your test subjects on. We're going to talk to her in just a second. But before we do that, well, let's just do that now. Claudia, can you hear me? Can you unmute?
Yeah, I can finally unmute. I had to reboot my computer.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So my line itself was really useful this time. Okay, so Claudia, I know back in 2011, because you gave us the date, 2011, you were one of the test subjects that was getting the bottle that had no label on it. You were testing this product. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And obviously it did something spectacular for you because you stayed in touch with the doctor since 2011 and went through another MLM company that pretty much destroyed everything. And you've stayed there long enough till you finally found the right connection that you thought. But other than that, tell me what this product did for you.
Okay. Well, we were one of the testers, and for me, I was really heavy. I was 143 pounds, and I'm only 4'11", so I was a size 12, 14, and I was huge. And what it did, it just helped, like Doc says, it takes away the craving where you don't feel like eating. Like I was obsessed to M&Ms, peanut M&Ms. I'd eat the whole bag and then look at it like, what happened? And after taking real weight, I could eat 2 or 3 or even 1 and say, oh, I don't want it, and put it away. And it just changes everything. It also changes the way you look at vegetables, everything. I mean, it's just amazing. And so I went and like I tell people, I know we'll go through the whole thing in a couple weeks, but it took me a little longer. My son lost weight right away. About 8 weeks, he lost 54 pounds and went from a size 42 to a 34. For me, it seemed like it wasn't working because I was only losing a couple pounds a month. And I thought, uh-oh. But what was happening, I took pictures, and you got to take pictures so that you can see your progress, because you won't see it mentally, but when you see a picture, you go, wow. And every month I dropped a pant size. And in 6 months, I went from size 12, 14 to a 4. And my cellulite in my legs were like 24 inches around. They went back to 19 inches. I had no cellulite. My tummy was all back to normal, everything. So, I mean,
And that was in 6 months. That was 6 months?
That was for me, 6 months. Yeah.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
I would have stopped, I would have stayed at a size 10, if I said, oh, well, it's not working. And it was working because your inflammation's going away, your cravings are going away, and the pounds are not what count. It's really how healthy your body gets back to. And then we saw, I wanted Doc to get this back. I've been working with him for years, and we've been trying to find a vehicle. And that's why I got him with Shane and Doc together, and Ron, because I knew it works, and we changed thousands of lives. And we all have gotten heavier again. We didn't gain weight all the way to about 2020 when COVID came and you were home and you're eating. And that's why. So even without the real weight, after that, your body adjusts to not really eating all that junk. It just really helped your mind and your body. But after that, gain weight again. And so, and I was lucky because I had Doc had sold some bottles that he had tried to make in 2020, 22, and I got it. And I had gone to 139, I'm back down to 122. And
Okay, so I know you said today that in 6 months you went from a 10-14 to
yeah, size 2. I went to a couple months after that, I went to size 2 because
okay, that is crazy.
I know.
That's crazy in 7 to 8 months to go from that size 12 to 14 to a 2-4. That's nuts. Now, here's what I need to know. When you started, obviously you were eating a lot of sugar. Okay. When you got to the end, what do you think your sugar intake was at that time?
Oh, really low, because I was eating more veggies and everything. I didn't even want to, I didn't want pasta or breads, and breads is my definite, weakness, and I didn't want the chips, and I didn't want, I eat one and I'm done, and instead of having that craving for everything, So it just changed my whole mindset, and I didn't miss anything. Like my friend and I, we'd be sitting at night, and she lived here because she took care of my dad. We were eating cauliflower with cheese instead of ice cream at night.
So it changed. So you're telling me that the product changed your mental capacity of what you were thinking about eating?
Yes. It really, really, and for all of us. It wasn't just me, it's everybody. Even the kids, with French fries or something, they didn't want to eat the French fries, that type of thing. It's just,
That's wild. That is wild.
yeah.
Well, here's what I want to do. Thank you, Claudia, for staying persistent and consistent with the doc and kept looking and looking and looking for a home, because I can tell you, she can tell you better than I. We've been trying to put this thing together for a year now.
Yep.
For a year's time, trying to make all this work with the doc. And I'm just telling you, we're so happy that you stayed in the program.
Oh,
And
I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give up because Doc's, his passion and what he wants to do for people around the country. This is what I want for everybody too. So I wouldn't give up.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you, Claudia, for your story. I know there's many more. There was a couple others on the Zoom today that was back in the testing or after the testing that was with you and knew you, and they were talking about the same results they were getting in the chat earlier today. But Doc, I want to come back to you just for a second. Can you still hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here's what I want to do, Doc. I just want to make sure that, well, not really make sure, Doc. I want to talk to you just for a second about moving forward. You had mentioned today about some ingredients, and you mentioned it this evening also about all natural. If you would, I don't want to go into the definition of what they are and why they work, but I would like for you to tell us what the main ingredients are of this product that makes it so helpful in everything that we have previously discussed.
Okay, but first, Claudia makes a very critically important point. Unlike the current injectable weight loss drugs that are so very popular, once you stop, you gain the weight right back. You've destroyed your muscles. You're just running around with a bloated stomach. It's all that they do. So she makes the point that even after the real weight, she wasn't get the benefit of real weight, but she had learned how to do things differently and retrained herself. Now, I'm like Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm a carbohydrate addict, and I probably always will be. So hopefully this will be around a long time, and a lot of us use it. But
are you saying
that's really a very important point? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Are you saying with this product we only have a one-step program, not a 12-step program?
Right, one step. And you asked me about the ingredients. They're all, first of all, we have IDALG, which is a extract of seaweed grown off the coast of France. And it affects the way we break down sugars. Then we have chlorogenic acid, or also green coffee extract. It's another name for it, which changes the way it crosses the intestinal border. It changes the way we metabolize it once we get it inside. And in several ways, really, it's amazing how many steps in the process that chlorogenic acid affects. And then the nopal cactus is an old remedy to control blood sugar by the Indians for a long, long time. And it's mostly because it's got some fiber and some other qualities that tend to slow down the digestion of all the glucose. So all three are designed, as we said before, to blunt this sudden rush of sugar to the brain, which changes our behavior.
100%. I can't wait. I can't wait to get all of us to get our hands on this product and start using it. I'm super excited about it. And Dr. Lundell, I've kept you here another 47 minutes this evening. Is there anything else that you want to add to this conversation before I let you go? And don't go, because I'm going to go over the questions as well. But before we go to the questions, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we've covered it.
Okay.
If not, we'll do it in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir, we will. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't see a lot of questions in here. I see a lot of agreements with you about pushing against the system, how to do different things. And there's other vitamin questions in here. We'll just kind of do that in 2 weeks. But I do see things in here, something like, when is it available? So that I can't answer. I can tell you it is being made as we speak, but I will leave you with something right now. Tomorrow, every Thursday we have another webinar and we do a webinar, correct? And I see a lot of you asking the questions about what is it going to cost monthly? What is the price? What's it going to be? I will have that information for you tomorrow night on the webinar. I don't have it at the moment, but I will have it tomorrow night, 100%. 100% what the cost is going to be. But Dr. Lundell, I'm going to ask you a question while you're here. When you were with the other MLM company, and what year was that? Do you know, by the way, the other MLM company, the first one?
Well, we started in 05, 06 and lasted until, 14 probably.
Okay. And when it came to this particular product in that company, the real weight product, do you remember what they were paying monthly for that product?
Yep, well, $100.
Oh, wow.
At least $100. So I think those people who knew about it then will be very pleased at the price that's going to come out that you're going to tell them what it is tomorrow.
Let me explain to everybody again. We are a product that is a membership. Your membership gives you access to buy things at super discounted rates. This is going to be a super discounted rate, okay, as far as a membership, because we're not the company that does, okay, we got to charge 10x or 20x what we buy it for, because our compensation plan is made on product movement. So when you buy it, we got to pay 15 people out of it. That is not what we do. Our commission structure comes out of the membership only, not out of the product. So we are allowed to hugely discount what this product was from 2012, 2013. And here we are in 2025, and it's going to be a lot less than that $100 that he just talked about. But guys, let me look one more time at the Doc. I want to thank you again for hanging out with us today for 2 hours. And I can't wait till we get back together in 2 weeks and do this again, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that has a lot more questions. And I'm seeing it. Can I get the product? When do I get the product? How much is it going to cost? I'm seeing all that in here now. So that's a good sign. That means people are excited. They're excited to see it, excited to get it. And there's let's see, Hiram, maybe you should not read this. Okay, I got it. Okay, I won't read it on the call. Got it. Guys, all I'm going to say is this. Be on the call tomorrow night. Be on the call tomorrow night. 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, same place. We are on Zoom.com. I will absolutely 100% have the cost of this product for you tomorrow night. Okay, tomorrow night. And then tomorrow, bring your questions, because we'll just handle it right up at the front, and we'll do everything possible in our power. So let me look one more time. One more time. Thank you so very much. Please answer. Okay, so there is a person, and a Doc, I don't know if you could, what you're going to say about this. There is a person that keeps asking, I can't swallow capsules. What do I do? I will do that question.
You can open the capsule and put it on the broccoli and take it that way if you want.
There you go. Easy answer. Or you could get real brave and open it up and shove it in your mouth and start swallowing. Just open it up in your mouth and let it go. No, I'm just kidding.
Just a pinch between your cheek and gum.
Hey, you keep coming off with these commercial things that I remember quite distinctly. I guess I'm just old. Listen, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're new and you're here for the very first time and someone invited you and anything about this interests you, because we got so many other things other than this as well. But if this interests you and you want to get healthier and you want to take care of yourself, or you want to help your family members or your friends or whatever, get back to the person that brought you here and get yourself signed up for your favorite 4-letter word, free. We don't ask you for a way of payment. We ask you for anything. You can literally be free in this company, a lifetime free membership, and you can purchase exactly what we're talking about. And you purchase the other things that we have already. So get to that person and get yourself signed up for absolutely free. As far as the protocol of how many we take, we will cover all of that tomorrow, and we'll also cover that again in 2 weeks. So with that being said, folks, we've been here 53 minutes. I'd like to cut it off to 1 hour. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Fun Saver, and thank each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Truly, truly appreciate it. And I am looking forward to go and smashing this thing and helping a lot of people get healthy again. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Good night.